I know, we've been a little cranky. Mama's trying to cook dinner. You've got some of that food that's still on there. I feel like potatoes always need more salt. We'll do the veggies first. One fine chicken.
But it's expensive because I think this lady got canceled. Did a good run, Paula.
Pretty good for veggies.
Well, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Second Half Strong. This week is all about cooking, specifically chicken thighs. So I have 3 different chicken thigh recipes, all on the Blackstone grill. I will say, I started out the week pretty sick. Thought it was just allergies. As the week went on, it got worse. Finally went to the doctor, wound up having a sinus infection. By recipe number 3, I had been on antibiotics for a couple days. So it's pretty clear by my energy level and pizzazz. So I will have all of the recipes down in the description box below, but I hope you enjoy this week's episode of chicken. It's been a while since we've been in my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some Greek chicken thighs. So I'm going to show you how I marinate them here in a minute. We still have a couple hours before it's going to go on the grill. I like to let that flavor kind of develop, soak into the chicken really well. I'm going to roast some asparagus and some potatoes. My stovetop is currently out of commission. There's some wires stuff happening. My allergies are allergying really bad right now. I know that's not a word. The weather in Oklahoma has been up and down so much lately and lots of wind. So all the things that are growing are blowing everywhere. So I apologize for the way I look and the way that I sound, but this is what you get today. So anyway. Okay, first thing is chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast or chicken thighs. It doesn't matter. Chicken breast is going to have a little bit higher protein to calorie ratio. Chicken thighs are going to be more flavorful and juicy. Lots of dill, lots of garlic powder, lots of onion powder. Oh, I grabbed the garlic salt. I need to get the right one because I'm also going to use salt, olive oil, and then fresh lemon juice. I do have some of this in a pinch. I'm going to have to get the baby. Okay, so she's feeling the allergies as well. I know, we've been a little cranky. Apple? Do you want apple? These are lemons. I promise you don't want to eat that. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up into little bite-sized pieces now before I marinate them. They just cook easier on the Blackstone when they're already cut up into little pieces. I know. I'm sorry. Oh. So we're going to do that, and then I'll get the marinade going, and then I'm going to play with her for a couple hours until Daddy gets home so I can...
All right, let's get started on this chicken. So I'm just trimming off any little fat pieces that I see. Okay, wait, stop, pause for the baby. Anyways, I'm trimming off any visible fat pieces. Every now and then you get some cartilage. Jackie loves to play in my spice rack. I think I've talked about this before, but she loves that cabinet. I've stopped keeping all of my jarred, like glass jar spices out of there so that she can just freely play in there. It makes a mess, but look, she has so much fun. All right, anyways, on to the marinade. So right now I'm just getting the lemons ready to juice. So I learned this trick, probably on the Food Network somewhere years and years and years ago, but when you're squeezing lemons by hand, when you're juicing them by hand, hold one hand underneath to catch any seeds. The juice falls through your fingers. You keep the seeds out of your food.
I remembered 2 things. I knew I was forgetting something. Oregano and then a vinegar of some kind. I have oregano and then I'm going to use balsamic vinegar. I prefer red wine vinegar in this recipe, so I'm just going to use less because this is really, really strong vinegar.
More on the vinegar later, but here I'm measuring out 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a full tablespoon of oregano, and a couple tablespoons of olive oil.
Honey, okay. Jackie, Mama's trying to cook dinner. I can't get this off. Okay, I'm just going to drizzle this on there and call it good. No, perfect. We'll just use what's left.
This poor baby was having such a hard time on this day. Anyways, I'm adding in some garlic. Fresh is better, I know, but garlic is fine. I was going to measure a teaspoon or so of salt, but I just eyeballed it. And then I realized I almost forgot the dill, which is really important. So I did about a tablespoon of dill in there, mix it all around, then cover it, and you're good to go. This marinade is really so good. Anyways, moving on to potatoes. I've got some red potatoes, but not enough for the whole family. So I'm going to use up what I have and then peel up a couple of russet potatoes just to fill it out. Russet potatoes, I peel so my family doesn't revolt. Red potatoes, they don't mind. I'm going to get some olive oil, and then I am going to season this with that Greek seasoning. So if you are really counting calories, trying to minimize your calorie intake, you could spray these with cooking spray. So to prep the asparagus, it's super easy. I just give it a good little rinse. There's all kinds of tricks about like snapping, doing that, and wherever it snaps, that's the woody part that you discard. I don't have time to do that with all this asparagus, so I'm just gonna, okay, so there's about 3 inches. I'm just gonna chop it. Is that gonna waste some? Probably. Am I gonna leave some woody ends on some of them? Probably. Do I have time to individually snap each and every asparagus? No. First one, and the fact, yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. I end up doing 2 packages, and I season them just like I did the potatoes with that Greek seasoning. Right, the grill is heating up. The oven is at 400 on the top. I'm not gonna put the asparagus in quite yet because that won't take as long. So I'm gonna let that keep heating before I put the asparagus in the oven. Okay, so the grill is nice and hot, so I'm just throwing some oil on there. And I'm going to spread out my chicken. I realized after those last couple clips, my mic had died, and I didn't realize, and I didn't know. So sorry. Look at what sounds. So I'm gonna spread this out so it has plenty of room. Once I get it all spread out, I'm just gonna leave it so that it has a chance to get some nice color and form a nice little skin, little crust. Okay, then we're just going to leave it alone for a minute. We're not going to sit here and zhuzh it around the whole time. Once the peas have had a few minutes to cook, I'm just going to go in and just start flipping them. Yeah, this is what you want to see. I'll give you a close-up here in a second. Once both sides have had enough time to form that crust and that color, I go back through any of the really fat chunks of meat and just kind of break it up with this, so that I can make sure that it cooks evenly on the inside. So let me show you what I mean. So some of these are just a little bit fatter than others. And when you pop it open, you can see in the center, it's not quite done. But a lot of these really thin pieces are already almost done cooking. So I don't want the skinny ones to dry out, and I don't want the fat ones to be undercooked. So just kind of go through, and I don't know. I've tried to teach my husband how to cook chicken, or even my daughter, and how do you know when it's done? I don't know. You just know. You can use a meat thermometer, of course, but just years of cooking, I can tell by the way it responds to the spatula. These are done. The way it bounces or doesn't bounce, it's bouncier the more raw the chicken is, and the same thing goes for steak. It's not science, so don't stake your life on that. Get it? Don't stake your life. Just kidding. Now, when it's all done, you can kind of just mix it up before taking it off the grill. All right, I'm going to show you how I clean the grill. So now that all the food is off of it, I turn it off and I pour water on there. The water helps just kind of break up some of that food that's still on there. And then I've got the scraper. Woo. But you got to be careful because that steam and that water coming up is hot. I've burned my fingers many times. I don't know, everybody may know how to do this, but I sure didn't when I first got my Blackstone. So I just thought I would show you. And as I'm watching this back, I realized I did not clean it very well at all on this day. Normally I do a better job, but it is what it is. I knew I was going to be grilling on it again the next day, so whatever. These are looking good. Same thing with the asparagus. There's a lot of steam in there. So these are looking fabulous. I'm going to clean up in here a little bit, and then by that time, everything will be ready to pull out for dinner. Okay, I'm going to try this chicken. I hear the baby waking up.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to go get the baby, and then everything will be ready to come out of the oven and we can sit down and eat. I'll show you my finished plate. So I filmed a bunch of stuff and realized my phone was full, and so it didn't keep it. But I did add more salt to the potatoes. I feel like potatoes always need more salt. Always need more salt. But I did measure this out just for reference, but this is about 4 ounces of chicken thighs, about 3 ounces of the potatoes. I did not measure the asparagus because the calorie content is negligible. The only thing, if I were tracking my calories super accurately, I would track probably like a teaspoon or so of olive oil, which would cover the olive oil that's in everything. Delicious. I'm excited to eat. Okay, we are back for another day of chicken. So I am doing, again, chicken thighs. So it's going to be chicken fajitas. I don't think I said that. Chicken fajitas on the Blackstone. So I brought my chicken. I brought my peppers. I'm going to grab a couple onions. I hope you can hear me. There's a lot going on right now. Also, I am sick, so I apologize for how I sound. And then I've got this fajita seasoning mix that I absolutely love. So I'm going to get everything cut up, seasoned, and then go start the grill. I will pretty much do everything on the Blackstone, including warming up all of the tortillas. I still cannot use my stovetop. We're still waiting on the part for that. But yeah, let's get going.
All right, once again, starting with the chicken thighs. So I'm just going to trim them up so there's not big chunks of fat or any big cartilage pieces, little bite-sized pieces.
Okay, all my chicken is cut up, and in this bowl, I've got my peppers. They're kind of puny, but they are washed. I'm going to slice these, slice up a couple of onions. The peppers and onions are going to go in a separate bowl, and then I'm going to season them all with this fajita seasoning.
Okay, I saw this trick. I think it was Tiffany Beeston. I don't remember her channel name offhand, but she is the first one that I saw cut her peppers like this. I always just like chopped off the top and then pulled the center out with my hand. And I don't know, you just waste a whole lot less when you chop your peppers this way. So you just go down the sides. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, these red onions, oh my gosh, were so strong. I had to stop several times when I was chopping these onions because my eyes were burning. And my knife, I ended up sharpening this knife for the next recipe. But anyways, peppers and onions in one, chicken in the other, and you're going to do olive oil and a bunch of that seasoning in both. Mix it all around, let it just kind of set.
Ooh, the grill is nice and hot, so we're going to put a little oil on there. We're going to get the chicken down. We're going to get the veggies down. We'll do the veggies first. I don't like crunchy cooked vegetables, if that makes sense. I love raw peppers, red, yellow, orange, not green. Green, no. But I love to eat them fresh, and when I do, they can be crunchy. But when I cook them, they need to not be crunchy. I like to get those started a little bit earlier than the chicken, so that it has plenty of time to get nice and soft.
Have I mentioned how much I love my giant Blackstone? I love being able to just cook everything on it. Start to finish today, my entire meal was cooked on Blackstone, which is just so nice.
We'll let that kind of sit for a little bit before I start flipping it. We get that nice crust to seal in those juices and those flavors. And then I'll go in and flip each piece. Once the other side has a chance to kind of crust up, then you can start zhuzhing it around however you see fit.
My peppers and onions are looking nice and caramelized. And I'm going back through and just flipping those pieces individually. I know it's time consuming, but I promise it is so worth it. Once everything has that color, mix it all together and then start throwing the tortillas on. So I'm doing regular tortillas for Jeb, and Stephen and I are using these low carb tortillas, not necessarily for the low carb value as much as the fiber. They're really high in fiber, which is great, and definitely lower in calorie. And then finally, I'm making a quesadilla for Jim. So start to finish, everything on the grill, and I don't have to dirty anything inside. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to assemble my fajitas. I'll probably wrap them up like tacos or burritos. Anyways, I'm going to use these. I want to make sure to get those veggies in there. Lots of those peppers and onions. I guess that is the nice thing about keeping it separate sometimes too. Make sure you get plenty. But I'm just going to load them up. And actually, take a little bit of chicken off of that one. I've got this non-fat Greek yogurt. So for 3/4 of a cup, it's 90 calories and 16 grams of protein. Obviously, I'm not using 3/4 of a cup. On
on these, but the macros are way better on non-fat Greek yogurt, the plain Greek yogurt, than sour cream. So, and it tastes pretty much identical. So, put some of that on there. And then I've got some cilantro. I cut up lime. Squeeze some lime juice on there. This lime is kind of dry. And then pickled onions. I'll have to show you how I make these. They're super simple and so delicious. They add so much flavor to everything from eggs to nachos to cottage cheese to fajitas to hot dogs, burgers, anything. So anyways, there we go. And then I'm going to wrap these up and eat them. And I guess I will call everybody else to come get their food as well. So here we go. Chicken fajitas. Jackie, what do you think? Yeah, is that a chip? Can you say chicken? Yeah, chip. Guess who's back? Okay, just kidding. Guess who's back again for another chicken thigh recipe. I've got one more recipe to share with you guys this week. Again, using one fine chicken. I don't know, it's from Aldi, but chicken thighs. This is going to be more of an Asian style. So we did a Greek, we did Mexican, and now we're doing an Asian style chicken. So this one's going to be like a garlic, honey, soy. It's akin to, it's, you know, like teriyaki adjacent in the flavors. So we're just using regular soy sauce. We're going to use some honey. Again, with the garlic. These 3 items are all you need. I like to go in with a little bit of rice vinegar. Anytime I'm doing these flavor, like Asian flavors, I like to give it a splash of rice vinegar for a little brightness and acidity. That's basically the marinade. I'm going to go ahead and pre-chop this. I've sharpened my knife, so I'll be using my good knife again. I'm going to mix up the marinade, chop up the chicken, get it all together, sip on my iced coffee. It's 5 p.m. I am for sure going to regret this later, but I was falling asleep in the recliner, sitting there while Jackie was watching Yo Gabba Gabba. So I made this 30 minutes ago and I've been sipping on it. I should have just chugged it, but it's pretty good. It's just a shot. I did do one single shot of espresso in my espresso machine, water, and then some heavy cream. Because I'm not doing creamer right now because we're in the middle of a challenge, which you'll see that video next week after this video, a 40-day challenge. So I'm not using creamer. Anyways, let's get to it. Steven took the baby to the park. She was getting all kinds of crazy. She needed some playtime and some attention. So he took her to the park, and I don't know what the boys are doing. Joe's not home from rehearsal yet. So, I just filmed the whole marinade and it wasn't recording. So, here you go. Here's what you didn't get to see. Oh my gosh. Okay. Basically, I'll sum it back up. It is equal-ish parts of honey and soy sauce. So I did half a cup of each, and then I ended up adding, after tasting it, I added a little bit more soy sauce. I then did a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, and then several large scoops of garlic, and then I added some crushed red pepper just to give it a little bit of a kick. This is not necessary. What else did I say? Okay, you can use coconut aminos instead if you're soy-free, gluten-free, or just like it better, but it's expensive. So Great Value soy sauce. This is our everyday. Try to marinate your meat for a minimum of 30 minutes if possible, so that the ingredients have an opportunity to kind of like permeate and violate your chicken.
That's one good thing about adding a vinegar, some kind of acid, vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice, whatever. Some kind of acid helps kind of break down that meat a little bit so that your marinade can kind of get in there deeper. 30 minutes minimum, 3 hours is better. Overnight, not necessary, but also great. What else did I talk about? I think that's probably all the important stuff. Oh yeah, fun fact, I was born in the garlic capital of the world. That's where I'm from. My claim to fame, Gilroy, California. And yes, I love garlic. Okay, sorry you didn't get to see it happen, but it wasn't that exciting. Okay, I sharpened this knife. This knife is getting really old. I think it's getting to the point where even when I sharpen it, I'm worried it's gonna start falling apart. And I don't think I could buy this knife in store anymore because I think this lady got canceled. Can't even remember her name. She had white hair. She was on the Food Network. No, not Martha Stewart. Not Martha Stewart. What was her name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I got a 2-pack of knives at Walmart with her name on it. I mean, her name's not on the knife. Oh, wait. Paula Deen. Paula Deen. It's kind of barely on there still. I saw the PD. Paula Deen. They were on sale for like $10 years ago. Like a long time ago. And they've been great knives. But anyways, it's been a good run, Paula. Had a good run. Like I said, don't think I could get her knives in store anymore. I'm sure Pioneer Woman has some that are just the same. And I don't think she's been canceled yet. Paula Deen, Paula's Home Cooking. Do you remember that show on the Food Network? She always had her sons come on, and I think sometimes her husband, but she made the most delicious Southern food. None of it healthy, but so good. Now that I've dirtied this bowl, I think I might transfer this to a Ziploc baggie, just because I know when I'm doing a seasoning marinade, so if I am doing some oil and then a bunch of like dry seasonings, a bowl is great. But when you're doing a liquid marinade, in order to get the most bang for your buck, like I don't want to make enough marinade that's going to like completely, I'll show you. So when I pour this marinade in, it doesn't come up to the top of the chicken. I'd have to keep stirring and stirring and stirring. But if I put it in a Ziploc bag, then it will have maximum, well, okay, this might not be too bad. I might just leave this. There's actually probably enough. But a Ziploc bag would have been better because you get more marinade touching your chicken. I don't know how to explain it. I think you know what I mean. This will be fine. It actually did mostly cover. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to cover this and let it set. I need to figure out what my sides are going to be. Probably just do some steamed white rice because that's delicious with chicken, especially like Asian styles chicken. And I need to go look in the deep freezer and see if I have any of the frozen extra fine green beans, because those are chef's kiss. Those are the best. There's like chicken fat dangling off the side of this bowl. It's grossing me out. I'm gonna have to take care of that. Okay, so I could not find any green beans in the freezer, which is a bummer. But I did find this bag of frozen broccoli stir fry. So I will put that on the stove since it's fixed and working. But I'll get that going. I've got rice in the Instant Pot going. And then I'm about to start my grill, except the mosquito guy's here. So I don't know if I can go out there and cook while he's spraying. So I might need to wait a few minutes. Got my grill heating up and my pan heating. I'm gonna cook this in some olive oil. And then towards the end, I'm going to add some sesame oil. Anytime I'm doing any kind of Asian flavors, I like to add sesame oil. Hi, Jeff. And what are you trying to do with your hand? Anyways, I like to add sesame oil. It has such a good, like, nutty, rich flavor, but it doesn't have a super high smoke point, so you don't necessarily want to cook with it. It can taste funky. So cook with the olive oil, and then I add that towards the end. Same thing when I do my fried rice. I'll show you sometime, but when I make fried rice, I always add sesame oil. Like that is the secret ingredient, I think. The secret ingredient to having good fried rice at home and have it taste like the restaurants is the sesame oil. All right, I'm gonna let that just kind of, since it's broken, let it kind of soften a little bit. Our bug guys out there, not our bug guy, mosquitoes. It's actually a good friend of ours from our old church. It's always a good time to see him. All right, now time to put the meat on the grill. It's the same thing I did with the other two recipes. I'm just spreading it out, getting a nice even layer, and then I'll flip it. And so a lot of times I'll take that and I'll cook it on the stove top and add some cornstarch. Okay, that is hilarious to watch back. I had no idea that he had popped out. It looks like he just froze. He knew I was out here filming, so he probably thought he was interrupting. So dinner is done. We've got the grilled chicken, the steamed white rice, and the sauteed, what are those called? Vegetables. What kind of vegetables are they? Stir-fry vegetables. Okay, go ahead. Steven's going to try it for us today.
Really good.
Really good. It's honey, soy, garlic, chicken.
Delicious.
Okay, there we go.
There's the veggies. Also pretty good for veggies.
For veggies. Pretty good for veggies. I'll take it.
Well, there you go. Those are my 3 favorite ways to use chicken thighs. Now, again, you can use chicken breasts for any of these recipes if you prefer that cut. Some people really just prefer chicken breasts. And I've showed you the macros. You do get more protein for 4 ounces of chicken breast versus 4 ounces of chicken thighs, and fewer calories. So just depending on your personal needs, what your dietary needs are, you might want to use chicken breasts, but I just prefer chicken thighs. The difference is not enough for me to sacrifice the flavor and moistness, if I can use that word, that you get with chicken thighs. So I hope you'll let me know, what was your favorite recipe? And please come back and tell me if you tried one of them. They're very simple. I am not reinventing any kind of wheel around here. I just wanted to show you some simple ways that you can build a meal. So that's one thing, the way you saw me structure at least the first and the third meal is how I structure a lot of my meals. Some kind of protein, some kind of starch, some kind of vegetable. Those are the 3 basic building blocks for any good, balanced, healthy meal. Keeping it simple like that, changing up the flavors, changing up potatoes to rice, to brown rice, to pasta, tortillas, like with the chicken fajitas. It was kind of the same thing. We had our protein in the chicken, we had the vegetables, was the peppers and onions, and then the starch were the tortillas. So a great way to build a meal when you don't know what to cook. It doesn't have to be fancy to be delicious. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we would love if you would subscribe and give us a like, and make sure to come back and follow along in our journey. Next week, we started this week. Steven and I started a 40-day challenge that I came up with, but you'll see it next week. You'll see our first week of the challenge, and I'll explain more in detail what that challenge is in that next video. But we hope you'll come back for that and follow along as we kind of spend 40 days focusing and refocusing after such a long bout of injury and sickness. It feels like it's just been one thing after another. For me, at least, since the half marathon in November. It really has. Come back next week to watch that first week and follow along as we navigate that. And we hope you enjoy this content. Again, I know it's a little different, but I don't want you to get tired of just fitness only. I know that is an issue for some people. So our channel is all about faith, family, and fitness. And some of that is me cooking. So cooking for my family. Jackie, if anybody is worried about her, the baby's feeling a lot better as well. So we are all on the mend and thankful for antibiotics and modern medicine. That's all I got to say. Anyways. Hope you enjoyed this video. Come back next week for more Second Half Strong. All of them are going to be 3 to... Well, there you have it. There are my 3 favorite chicken thigh. Well, there you go. Those... Oh my gosh. Those are... Okay.